Welcome to the Bleep Bulimia podcast with guest Ethan Reisvoard, Board Certified Hypnotherapist. Hello, everyone. I am Lorianne. I am the host of Bleep Bulimia, and today I am very pleased to have Ethan Reisvoard with me. He is a Board Certified Hypnotherapist, and he helps people create lasting changes. Thank you so much for being here with me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm really excited.
Awesome. So, what inspired you to get into hypnotherapy? Tell us your story.
Yeah, so I am a hypnotherapist now because of what hypnotherapy did for me in my life. A year or two after COVID, I was working for my family and I got a very mild concussion that just never recovered. And in fact, despite every doctor, neuro, whatever I was working with saying you're fine and you should be getting better, things actually just kept getting worse, more severe and more painful for me. Um, so I actually found myself in a really, really tough place emotionally and physically. And I reached out to my hypnotherapist who helped me quit nicotine earlier in my life. And I said, hey, like, I'm so depressed right now. Can you hypnotize me to be happy? That was what I asked for. And she said, sure, but it's more than just happy. Like she started to paint this picture of how the life I was living not only caused this chronic pain, but was keeping me stuck in this chronic pain. She taught me all about how the subconscious mind and how our perception of the past and the future affects how we live. Um, and after about 2 sessions of me arguing with her, saying, no, you're wrong. I have a concussion. I have this. I went back the third week and said, okay, you're right. I want to work on it this way. And I started to heal myself immediately. Um, so what I found was my nervous system was so messed up, I wasn't even in a position to recover. She regulated my nervous system, and all of a sudden, the tools that did not work now became effective. I am 100% pain-free. I am 100% recovered. And it really felt silly to go back and live the life that caused it, right? So I did a radical shift in my life and ended up becoming a hypnotherapist myself. Became really passionate about these tools and helping others the same way that was able to help me.
That's lovely. That's a really nice story. And I do believe that, I hear people complaining about pains and aches and anxieties and so forth. Stress is not a friend. And
Yeah.
and it comes in so many different bundles. And it does affect your physical health as well as your mental health. So this is very
Right. Right.
it's apropos to my audience because you know, bulimia is an escape from a lot of those issues that you were talking about, like and the awareness of what is causing this, because there is, to me, I believe, always a cause behind an eating disorder. It's just to
Oh,
find it,
absolutely.
right? So
Right.
what would you speak to my audience in regards to that? Like being a certified hypnotherapist,
Yeah.
yeah.
So my best friend in high school and college suffered from bulimia. So it's not something I personally experienced, but I was one of the people that she would call in her real tough moments. So I experienced it before my professional career. In my professional career, what I know about those who are experiencing that through it is that, well, there's a few aspects of bulimia that I think hypnotherapy could really help. Number one is that there is a severe dysfunction in the nervous system with probably most people who suffer from bulimia, which is that there's a perception in the body that there's something wrong emotionally or physically, and that an action needs to be taken to resolve that feeling or thought or experience, right? And in this case, it is eating, vomiting, something along those lines, right? Um, so, step one, regulating the nervous system. It's what helped me heal from my concussion, but it's going to help settle the mind. It's going to help find clarity, create space between impulse and action, right? when we are so impulsive with our thoughts, it's we are doing the action before we can even think, right? But when the mind can begin to settle and the nervous system is actually calm and knows that it's safe, we have space, right? So we can take that action. Um, Once we have that space, you can start to shift patterns, eliminate negative thoughts. I'm very aware of all of the negative and intrusive thoughts that are part of this that people experience and suffer from. Being able to notice it, catch it, settle the mind, and release it is something that's way easier said than done. But I'm sure we'll talk, Lorianne, about how hypnotherapy actually makes it a more fast, automatic behavior. Um, and identifying healthy as safe, right? This is probably, there's a difference between logic and what the subconscious is telling us in life and especially with bulimia, right? So an example I will give to a new client is a cigarette smoker, right? Who's has maybe issues with their mouth or their throat or their lungs. They know it's healthy to quit smoking, but smoking has become their defense mechanism, their stress tool. It's all they know how to process when they're struggling, right? So if someone who has created that relationship with bulimia, they actually, the subconscious mind doesn't want to switch to the healthy pattern because the healthy pattern means getting rid of their comfort, getting rid of their security blanket, right?
Yep.
So
Yeah,
being able to
definitely.
see the truth, right? Being able to see the truth. There is in the conscious mind, Lord, we have logic, willpower, decision making, analysis, all the things that they know about themselves or things that other people will tell you about yourself, but it doesn't make its way to the subconscious mind, right? So all of these things I think are I mean we can talk about it. I think that they're very prominent in people who are experiencing struggling with bulimia.
Mhm.
And all ways that hypnotherapy is highly, highly effective.
Okay, that's one thing.
Did that make sense? Did that answer your
You
question?
know what? And it's so funny because I've mentioned that it's like I don't know which one of the Peanuts was it Linus that had or no that had his security blanket was it Linus? I think it was Linus. Anyway, always carried his security blanket, and uh,
Mhm.
yes, it helps with the stress and the emotions, but it is what we were talking about. One of my segments, it was it becomes your best friend and it's there for you all the time. You know, you move around for people like me, I moved around all the time. Well, my bulimia was a constant and a friend, not a healthy friend, not at all,
Exactly.
but it was comfort, security, all you said that, where the conscious mind, subconscious mind says, you know, no, don't get rid of this. This is like I don't want it to go. I don't want to say goodbye. I don't want to leave. It's like I don't want it to go away. So I love how you mentioned that because that definitely is for I believe a lot of bulimics, I know it was for me, very much that separating and saying goodbye is hard.
Right, right. Well, that's why compassion is something that's so important in this work. Um, that no one wants to have bulimia, right? But we have to understand that there's a reason why our body's responding that way. And everything that we are doing in life is meant to protect us. It's very flawed, right? But it's a security blanket. So we want to hang on to that security blanket because we want to stay safe and protected. Um, Starting to understand why our bodies act the way they do, and having compassion for that and being able to offer an alternative is such a healthy process in the minds and in the body.
So let's move on to your hypnotherapy. How would that work? Like, so you said that there's, and I believe it. I haven't taken hypnotherapy. I actually took a course on it, but I have not gone to a
Oh,
specialist.
really?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, it was kind of fun. We went through a whole bunch of different things that we took courses on. But but you're certified, I'm not. So being a specialist, I would really like to hear more about how it would work. And I mean, it would be obviously not just for bulimics, people with eating disorders, but for all sorts of things. Like you said, smoking, I'm sure drinking too. It's a
Yeah.
universal I think, positive thing to consider. So tell us more about that.
Right. Right. Well, it really comes down to, is there something in your life you want to change or create, but you can't, right? And if that is the case, then hypnotherapy is going to be highly effective because we are living based on our past experiences and how we're projecting the past into the future. And we really don't differentiate from that. Some people can push through, most people can't. So being able to hypnotherapy, I should say, is this incredibly relaxing and gentle state. It's like a guided meditation. And in that state, parts of the brain, we call it the critical mind. Some people call it the neocortex. It actually can be bypassed. There's defensive parts of the brain that want to keep us in place, right? Keep us with that blanket. In hypnotherapy, we're so relaxed, it's almost like you can sneak around the back and implement those changes. So when I work with anyone, we always start at the roots, right? Bulimia is the flowers, it's the branches of the presenting issue, right? But the roots is how is the body? The body is responding to a perception that something is wrong, right? Um, More likely than not, with anyone I see, that is where it starts. So step one is regulating the nervous system using certain tools like somatic tracking, polyvagal breathing, mindfulness, right? To start to settle the mind, settle the body, and identify a level of safety. And then from there, you start to implement a bunch of different really cool hypnotic tools, either to pause, as I said, to create space between the impulse and action. And the other aspect is to release the past, right? We're carrying a lot from us, whether it was childhood, teenage, or even as an adult, right? Life is pretty stressful nowadays, even if we're adults. Right? So being able to release that part of us that we have built, that we have assigned a very important role to protect us, that's doing a very wrong job of doing so, right? Being able to release that and then create space for something new. So when we work in hypnotherapy, it's about an hour session. 40 minutes is talking and 20 minutes is hypnosis. So what we'll do is we'll talk about what's going on. We'll identify what you personally need, and then it's really creating a custom script for you. I take what you need, your words, your struggles, and turn it into something unique and specific for you. Um, the best part of hypnosis is, I mean, I've done talk therapy before. I like talk therapy, but sometimes you leave and you're still stressed. Um, well, at the end of our sessions, you're just hypnotized and you feel very, very relaxed. And even if it's an intense session, you leave feeling levity and calm.
I love
Did
it.
that answer your question, Larian?
It does, and I love that, and I love the way that you describe it. I love the way everything that you describe, like finding a way to the back. So, um, yeah, it's and it is very true. There's roots there that, and some of us, I think we even know there is, but we don't know how to deal with that. So it's nice that you
Right.
have the balance between the talk and the hypnotherapy because I think that, and that you're saying you get to individualize it. So here, okay, it's not just scripted material that you're going to go through a program that's designed for.
Right.
So I like that aspect of what you're doing. Definitely. Uh, so when you are, do you provide this? Is it only like one-on-ones face to face, or do you actually provide it also Zoom or electronic?
Yeah. I basically only work in Zoom. I live in Costa Rica. That was part of
Oh,
the
oh,
radical
that's right.
shift
New
of me.
Jersey or Costa
Yeah.
Rica. Okay.
Yeah, in healing myself and shifting how I want to live, I moved to this peaceful little jungle town in Costa Rica. So unless you want to fly 5 hours and then drive 4.5, it would be working online on Zoom. 99% of my clients are on Zoom. I have some people in town who I work with, but everyone else is online. And the healing that I received was all on Zoom also. So
Okay.
it's actually incredible how powerful hypnotherapy can be on Zoom.
Wow. And you're in your own environment too. So I would imagine that so there's a comfort zone in not having to get yourself out and fly and
Yeah.
drive 4 hours. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well,
But
beyond
no,
that,
'cause
no, it's
people
I
like
I want to
being in
meet,
their home,
right,
some of us.
right. I want to meet people where they are. It's really
Yeah.
hard to make change. And when you're in this stuck state for so long, it is genuinely scary to move out of it, even if moving out of it is the good thing, right? So if it's going to be easier for you to take that action step by you being in the comfort of your home, amazing, right? Use that, right?
Yeah,
Small
definitely.
steps is in those steps.
It's really kind of funny because I know that a lot of people were really disturbed by COVID. It's a horrible thing for me to say, maybe, but I actually enjoyed it,
Mhm.
um, because my job is very much an outside job, like with people. I'm with people all day now, but and I was before COVID, but those 2 years of just like regenerating this like quiet time, just and I don't mind being alone. But the other thing too, Zoom was there, right? So I got involved with all
Right.
sorts of groups. I learned a whole bunch of stuff, took a bunch of courses. It was, but I was in my own element, just being in my space for the 2 years. And a lot of people, because people, they say need people. And I guess that's true. But I had all my animals and I had me, and I'm comfortable with me. So it was not an issue. It was,
Right.
it was a
So
nice
that's
downtime for me, believe it or not.
yeah. Well, for my mom, I graduated college. My brother graduated high school during COVID. That was supposed to be her coop, right? Solo nest. And then she got an extra year and a half. So she thinks it's the greatest thing because she got an extra year and a half with her kids. Um, I mean, for me, COVID broke got the concussion as a result of the emotional stressors that I was living with moment to moment. Because I was not in the present moment. I literally walked into something because I was
Oh,
arguing, fighting, and stressing in my mind about 100 different things. Um, so now I can say COVID was a blessing for me because it got me here. I believe if I didn't get that concussion, I didn't suffer in an intense way for a short period of time, I would have suffered on a macro level my entire life. Um, so I'm grateful now, but in the moment it crushed me.
yeah. It was surreal too. Seriously. Like I still look back on that and I go like, really? Did that really happen? Like, but
Yeah.
by that time too, luckily I had been recovered, like, so it's gonna be February. So I was recovered 10 years by then. So luckily I wasn't
Oh, oh,
stuck in this world of, because if I had not been recovered, that would have been a horrible thing for me. Because you know what would have happened? I would just be like eating and throwing up all day. Like it's
right, right,
free for all type of thing. But
right,
yeah, luckily I was recovered. So I know that there was one of my clients that came on, or one of my guests, sorry, that came on, and she started her bulimia through COVID. It was her way, her coping mechanism. And she was in her 40s.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's no control in that time, and
Mm.
it's how do you find a way to create control? And for me, it was my brain actually, like I couldn't recover from the concussion because instead of recovering, my brain was focusing on how do I create this controlling, right? Like my brain was overthinking trying to solve that problem. For me, my coping was in my head versus like a physical action I did.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Overthinking, that's another thing that's not very healthy. Honest to goodness, I have a little bit of that still to this day. Just not as bad as it used to be. But overthinkers, yeah, that's I'm sure one place too that you would be a great help to because so many of us
right,
do that overthinking. You say something to someone and and conflict arises, and the next 5 days all you can do is mull over it. It's like meanwhile the other person probably
right.
got over it 10 minutes later. Like, it's like
Right. Well, so that's very common with everyone I work with, and it's normal, natural part of our human brain. We learn it in life or in school when we're young, in
yeah,
math class. You're given a hard problem, and if you think really hard, you get the answer, right? So we think that we can do that in life, and it's really good in a lot of cases, but now we get to you can't solve an emotional issue with logic, right? And that's what overthinking is, and that's what intrusive thoughts and like being stuck in your head is. You're trying to solve something logically, but it's emotional, and you are just stuck in that loop of trying to problem solve.
yeah, I know we're going to be going to, but this is really interesting where you said that, you have a math problem, it's really hard and you have to really think it through. The other side of it is making something difficult that's actually, so I used to do math and sometimes I'd come up with the solution really easily and I'm going, it can't be right because that was too easy for me. And I make things difficult and I'll double like I'll second guess myself because I'm going, wow, how not so much like that, but I was very much like that as a kid. Like if something came easy to me, I'm going, that can't be. It's supposed to be more difficult than this, which was a very strange thought as a child. And sometimes I'd even get the problem wrong because I overthought it and I had it right the first time, and then I got it wrong from saying no, it has to be something more difficult. And then I didn't trust my own capability of understanding something sometimes. And because if it was simple to me, it couldn't possibly, it has to be difficult. Like it's like, and in life you
Right.
do
Yeah.
that. Like you make things difficult that are not, that can be simple.
Right. Yeah, we all have our different experiences that we have as kids and through life, and it creates the way we live now, right? And it's all okay in the sense of it's for a reason, but it in a lot of cases, what we're doing no longer serves us, right? And obviously, bullying is one of those cases where it's trying to solve something, but it's not healthy, it's not helpful, and it's there are much better ways to process, right? If you're able to access it. And that's really what I want to be here to offer, which is like, I'm sure there are people who are struggling who know the right thing, know what's needed or what they should do, and it's the implementation that's hard. And if that's the case, then hypnotherapy is a really, really helpful tool to help actually implement what you need to find relief.
That sounds great. And it sounds like a unintrusive way of, taking a step, a first step. There's no, yeah, and obviously because it's online too, that just keeps you in your own space. Okay, so we need you, Ethan, to tell our listeners where they can find you.
Yeah, so my website is ethanricehypnotherapy.com, ETHANREIS hypnotherapy.com. I also have Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. It's all Ethan Rice Hypnotherapy. I will give you a link to all those, Lorianne, for you to include. But yeah, Ethan Rice Hypnotherapy.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for being here today. I really, really appreciate it. I really appreciate the time of my guests because this is very important to me to get out there and reach out to my listeners and saying there is a way. No one way
Um,
is right for everyone, but they've got probably about over 100 different options on my podcast to choose from, and I love that you're here. And the other thing too, it really speaks a lot to you that you had a friend that was bulimic and you listened to her, because I think that speaks volumes about you. It's not an
yeah.
easy thing. I had another guest that spoke to his best friend being bulimic. It's not easy to listen and not to really know what to do at the time. So
Right. And I had no idea what to do. I was in high school, or I was in high school and college. I definitely didn't go about it the best way, but I did the best I could, right? And it has helped me now in this point in my life, right?
absolutely.
As someone who works with people to make changes and have compassion towards them. Well, thanks for having me, Lauren.
Thank you very much. You have a great day. Take care.
Yeah, you too.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to this episode. Be sure to visit me at bleepbulimia.com.